Oh, no, that isn't it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's May the 21st, 2025, and thank you all for meeting a little bit early today. It's 4 o'clock. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that we live in Mi'kma'ki, the traditional and ancestral land of the Mi'kmaq people. We are all treated people with responsibility to each other and to this land. Is there a public forum, Madam Clerk Treasurer?
There is not.
Thank you. Our first order of business is approval of the agenda. I will place on the table that the agenda of the May 21st, 2026 regular monthly meeting be approved as presented or amended. May I have a motion? Thank you, Gloria. Does anyone have amendments? Yes.
I'll second the.
Oh, second, and
Yeah.
seconded by Randy. The motion, any conversation amendments? No. The motion is carried. Unless there's an objection, there was not. Approval of the minutes. I will place on the table that the minutes of the April 9th, 2025 regular monthly meeting be approved as presented or amended. May I have a motion?
I'll make them.
Thank you, Tom. Second, Gloria. Are there any amendments or concerns? Do I need to call a vote? Is there any objection? No. Acclamation. I will place on the table the draft motion that the minutes of the May 6, 2025 special meeting be approved as amended. May I have a mover? Thank you, Laura.
Second.
Second, Tom. Are there any amendments, concerns, revisions? No. Do I need to call a vote? No objections? Motion is carried. Business arising. The village budget final. Where is it?
Do you have a background?
Number 11, page 11,
Page
Joe.
11.
It starts there.
No, I can't recall. Yeah, that's all right. Someone need a printout? Actually, I think I did print that part.
I don't know if I ever, I think I must have. Page 11. Page 11.
No, I don't know.
Begins on page 11.
Yeah, that's the front page or whatever you
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah.
Okay, Randy, I'm just gonna go around the table. Is that acceptable with everybody? Randy, do you have any comments, questions?
Couple of
concerns?
things, why doesn't everybody else say what they have to say?
Okay, we'll
before?
start with Tom.
No, I have no.
You have no,
I'm good,
Gloria?
I'm good.
Laura?
You have any?
No.
Okay. Let me borrow that for a minute. The lifeguard thing,
Did you refer to the page?
12, 4225 is the GL number.
4225, that's a revenue.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm not quite sure. Where did we get that money? I know you've got a note, I just don't have it in front of me.
That is from the Canada Summer Jobs Program.
But it looks to me like we went 5,100 last year. Like that's what we spent according to that.
Yes, well, that's income, that's revenue.
Yeah,
So the Canada Summer Jobs, we usually budget for there to be
yeah.
one that gets approved.
So we did get
But we got
one.
both.
Oh, we got both of them and we only had to pay, or only got 4945 for 2 lifeguards?
Yep.
Okay. Where was my next one? Annual general meeting. Why is it gonna cost so much money this year?
That was, we had discussed sending out a flyer to try and improve attendance.
So
that
we-
includes that.
We spent 511 last year.
Mhm.
And it's gonna cost $1,000 to do that mail out. Okay.
And if there's a postage pipe, what do we do?
Oh, yeah.
well, we'll
Yeah.
just have to. knock
Well, it's
on
in the
your-
budget,
We'll see
yeah.
how long it goes.
Yeah.
But yes, so that would be a
Okay.
poster to get mailed out.
As far as the postal strike goes, if, and I would say when it occurs, we'll have to have a strategy special meeting and decide what we're going to do, and there's lots of options. I mean, we as counselors can take it upon ourselves to make telephone calls. We can make sure our own social media is thumping. We can put posters up in various places around the town and the grocery stores, where obviously not the post office, which is the usual place. But I think for now, we'll just take a pass on
Okay.
that. Yes, Tom?
I think, didn't you tell us the last time you can mail within the village, Karen?
Yes.
Oh.
You can.
If there's any mail.
Yeah, they're a different union up there or something.
So
Yeah.
if we had to mail something out to the residents, is that what you're thinking of? So-
Well, no, because we can't mail it to the residents because there won't be any postal
Well,
workers.
you're right, and that, in the last strike, but there was very little uptake on that.
Oh, was it?
And it may even be a different
Oh, sorry.
sector union that's answered, because there's a lot of
Yeah.
different unions. So, but I can certainly verify, I can pick that up.
Yeah, okay.
I completely misinterpreted your
Oh.
question.
So I will ask, 'cause that's a real
apologize.
good point, Tom,
Yeah.
and then we could certainly say, go to your post box.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a treat for you
Hmm.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for some reason, I was thinking you were talking about the rural routes,
Oh, yeah.
which won't let us
Yeah,
manipulate them.
5461.
64, 60.
That amount, I think, I don't have the damn notes in front of me, but that's to everybody to go to the conference or
What-
something.
Well, that's
Page
the
is it?
meeting pay.
That's a lot of money there.
That was, that's assuming one meeting a month times 3 external committees.
I'm sorry, yes, it was meeting pay.
Yes,
Is it likely to be that large, really?
we didn't spend that much this year. but-
No.
Because
But just
nobody
doing-
applied
12.
for it.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
but just doing the math,
that's fine.
36 meetings.
We won't belabor that point. The election expenses also,
What number? I'm getting
where are you
lost
now,
here.
Randy?
I'm still on page 12. I'm working my way down.
Yeah.
GL 5496.
50, okay, yeah.
Election expense. We spent $500 last year and now we're gonna spend 2,600.
That's if we have an election. It was 500 last year.
Nobody,
because-
yeah,
Oh,
Because
okay.
there wasn't a full-on election.
proper
See what
thing.
happens.
But if there is a full-on election, we have to hire staff and print ballots and all that kind of thing, so.
Where was
So I'm
that?
looking at these.
Wage, oh, the
That's not
wages
it.
thing is,
That's not what we're looking at.
No, see here? This-
I don't have that one. My page 12 is totally different than what you guys got.
Are you in the special rather than the regular?
That's the, yeah, she's got the in-camera.
Okay, I don't have the other one. Okay, I don't have the other one. I got 2 of these.
so 5440, the wages, I gather, is all this jiggering around with fire, what fire pays and what we pay and making a total of it. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And you've got the employment
Okay.
expenses are in there too, right, the C.
Yes.
Yeah, so, yeah, that, I know, I sort of realize all of those have
Yeah,
that.
WCB and.
Okay, so that, it basically means you have WCB, Canada pension, and whatever
BI,
the fire services is, it's all loaded in, okay.
yeah, when you add them up separately, it's very similar to last year.
Yeah.
It was allocated different.
I did actually look at the note about it, but I just don't have them in front of me. Advertising, again, the advertising includes the flyer, does it, or our newsletter or whatever?
No, that's just for a flyer. Trying to think now, was it 1 or 2? Sorry, it's been a little bit since we've looked at this.
We only spent $549 last year, and now we're budgeting 3,000. This is
I think that's to
5455.
Make allowance for flyers again.
Okay, good.
And if we don't spend it.
Good. So training and travel is where everybody goes to the conferences.
Correct.
That's why it's quite substantial. Well, I don't plan to go. So what can you do about that?
You budget for it and you worry about it later. You have to budget for it.
Okay, that's fine. Medical insurance, that's
That's non-negotiable.
significant rise. Did it go, I thought we had pretty well had that taped out.
We get quotes from them.
Yeah.
And then when we get billed, doesn't seem to match.
Yeah.
So
So these are actual monies being billed to us now.
So this is what we were quoted for the upcoming fiscal.
Okay, that's
For
fine.
the people who
But
are-
we're not guaranteed that will be the actual.
Well, we had 89.91
Yeah,
last
they-
year, so.
They dinged us really good.
And it's
last
only
year.
the three of us, right?
Yeah.
That's only-
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I just wondered, I thought the last meeting, it was told that we had pretty well solid
Yeah,
evidence.
they gave
Yeah,
actual
okay.
quotes.
It's just that they never go down. I don't know what happened there anyway. So IT support is suddenly gonna be $9,000. What's the deal there? 5481.
That is. hang on a second.
Yeah, that's quite a jump, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, not really compared to what we actually spent, but why did we only budget 6,700? It was $8,700 in total finally at the end. And now we're budgeting 90/40. Is that
Yeah,
because
I'm
we're,
not happy with that company at all.
no, I thought we were gonna change.
I think Heather is
I'm
looking.
getting quotes from other.
Are we talking about municipal
Alternatives.
joint services in that? Okay.
Yeah,
And-
it's municipal joint services, but it's also, AMANs for the website.
Okay,
So
okay. So but
there's
when we
an
get a
annual fee for
prorated
that.
amount for the AMAN's website, we pay 1/25th of it or something like
Yeah,
that, or
it's-
whatever,
it's-
however many there are.
We have, a silver maintenance package, which is like 1,200 a year, so.
Okay, so we are probably looking into some alternative supplier, at least for the email and all that stuff.
Yeah, I am looking for alternative suppliers for IT.
Okay, good.
What
For
about
sure.
the website? I mean, whatever contract you're looking for, will it be easier to adjust the website? I mean, right now it seems to be torture to get anything changed on the website.
Yeah, to get things changed, to get it redesigned, it's actually included in our fees because you're able to do that every couple of years, so we can absolutely go in and revise the design. Currently, I can post things, Maxine can post things, and there's some things neither of us can do that we have to call them for, but the architecture of the site itself, that's what we need to work with AMANs on, so but it's on my list to look at the,
Yeah. I would
The
just,
site
I would
map.
like a website so that if one of our commissioners wants something on the website, it's there in 24 hours. I don't want to be fighting with whoever we're paying a ton of money to get one of the commissioners' items on the website.
yeah, it's things like the agenda packages are always posted there, but at the same time.
I want to be able to go
there.
on any page at any time and post anything I want, or
You won't
any
be able to
commissioner wants.
post. You won't be able to post.
Well, put information on it, so is that a post?
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
you just have to give that to me and I can put it on.
only certain people are authorized to.
Yeah,
mess with
I
it.
don't worry
Yeah.
about the authorization, I worry about the time. Like how long between, let's say Tom has a outside meeting for one of his committees, and he wants to tell people it's open to the public, and he tells you, how long before it appears on the website?
If I'm here at my desk, it can be done in a matter of minutes, so it just depends on when and where it is.
Well, see, I was understanding that sometimes it was difficult to get things on the website, I thought we had this conversation before.
No,
No.
no, it's not.
It's
A
just
while-
difficult to revise the,
Yeah,
Wait.
if we want to add a whole page or section or whatnot, that can take a bit of time while I wait for Les to put it up, for me to then go in and populate it. But to go in and put up posts about meetings and this and that, just, it's very fast.
okay. The problem that I find is, even though I'm chair of the commission, I have trouble getting around the website. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
I don't love the navigation.
when I want to look something up, I find it torture.
Yeah, can we make that simple?
Yeah, oh, that's my plan.
We're gonna redo it.
I mean, we're paying these people a lot of money to do what appears to me to be very little.
Well, that's AMANs that do the website. It's different, so both of those things are in this line.
Okay, I think we should probably have a meeting where we discuss that in more detail. I don't like being foggy about that.
Should I go on?
Yes, sorry.
Page 13, 55, 75. Oh, that's not the one I was at. Oh, yeah. So that $30,000 budgeted, that's, you've got a quote from them guys on that?
I'm just gonna put this up on screen because it does get confusing. So these are the quotes for mid-June to mid-September,
Yes.
which is what we did last year. The
I
quote
can't
plus-
read that, so could you read it out loud, please? It's very fuzzy from where I am. There, that helps.
Oops,
Yeah, that's good.
Oh,
More or
right,
less.
forgot about that screen.
there, can everybody see
Yeah,
that?
good.
Okay, so this is for mid-June to mid-September, 13 weeks. This is for June 15th to September 30th.
That's the
It's
one
a-
we chose, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
this is wee bit lower because the fuel surcharge has dropped. At the time we were working on the budget, it was 41, now it's 39, so it's split in the middle, so that's
Well,
reduced slightly.
will we be able to lock that in then?
No. It,
That changes
it's
with the cost
changeable.
of fuel.
Okay, so we can't just say we have a contract and you have to honor the
I don't
contract.
know
Okay,
that fuel surcharge.
I know, right? But-
it's an easy way for them, a few $100 extra. Anyway,
And then
that's life.
total, like,
Um,
June and June 1st to September 30th would be here, so we've got this one right now.
Okay, I have concerns about this. We had to pull money out of our reserve.
Yeah,
I think that we made a mistake. When we approved this extra pickup, we were under the impression we had a little hiccup with our budget. We were
Yeah.
under the impression we had a surplus. Now we do not. And now we're sitting here pulling money out of our reserve. I think that we should stay with our original plan and not add the extra weeks and therefore not pushing our budget. I just think we made the mistake of, it wasn't a mistake. We thought we had a surplus. We don't, and I think it's very unwise to continue with that original motion. And I think that we should revise our opinion and change our process back. Could you put that back up to, I believe it's the 12 weeks? Yeah, I think we should put it back to 13 weeks, June the 15th to September the 12th.
Yeah.
Rather
That's
than
23.
pulling money out of our
Yeah.
reserve.
that's what we budgeted last year for the
Yeah.
service.
And as I say, when we agreed to the extra weeks, we thought we were in a surplus position. Would somebody care to get that front door?
Collins.
Oh, hey, Colin.
Probably the
You're
fire
early,
boys,
but have a
yeah,
seat.
yeah.
I'm always early.
Okay, so, does that mean if we decide to do this, we've got to go through this whole procedure again, or could you?
No.
Yeah, because you gotta balance
It's
the
just-
budget again.
Well, right
No,
now,
you just take out the old rates,
Yes.
you balance it
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
but if we approve it, it's just paperwork.
Oh, yeah, no, I understand,
If you
but do we have to
go
look at it and
back
pass it
No.
again, you know?
No,
Let's
we
do it
pass
right.
it with amendments.
if you go back to
Okay.
the first page of the budget, sorry, I'm just trying to move this thing over, it's not working, there we go. So to pay for that compost pickup, you passed a motion that we could dip into the operating reserve
Yeah.
up to about 5,000. This is what it actually came to, so a little less than that, but if you reduce it back to where it was, we would not need to do this.
Yeah,
Take nothing from reserves,
Correct.
basically.
I think under the circumstances, it's wise not to go into reserves.
But, Tom, I guess
Yeah,
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
Tom,
Well, in view of the fact that that rat problem,
we'll have a rat problem regardless.
yeah, but
yeah.
what the hell people want it?
Well, we're doing what we can about the rats. We have
Yeah, no, we
stations
get-
everywhere.
I know,
Yeah,
but I'm saying people want that green car pickup, it's very popular.
Well,
yeah, I'm sure it is, but,
They're prepared to pay for it.
okay, so then we
Well-
have to set up a
Yeah.
process by which we get money from them or something. yeah.
I think had we known, sorry, without my
Yeah,
hands,
go.
sorry. Had we known initially, we didn't have all the right numbers, we might have put in a couple pennies more on the tax rate, which would have covered it. We didn't have all the right numbers exactly. What if we add on, can you go back to that compost page?
12 weeks.
What if we could, I mean,
16 and 18,
what if we added on,
2 weeks.
how many weeks will we add on to keep with, what do we need to recover, $3,400?
Well, currently, it's the 16 weeks that's in the budget, so the
Right,
additional.
but so what if we do
14.
14 weeks? 15 weeks. Still, that we can balance this budget. I don't like going into the reserves particularly.
No, I don't either, actually.
And next year, we can revisit it, because we can revisit it at the same time if we decide we want to consider a hike in tax rate, or if we want to reduce expenditures on some other item.
I think going forward, we won't have much choice. I mean, if this is an example of what we have to deal with now, the tax rate can't stay where it is.
No, no, of
We
course
can't
not.
pinch any more than we're already pinching.
We probably should have put the tax rate up by a penny, but we were under the impression that
Yeah, that we had all kinds of money.
that we had more money than we do.
So is someone gonna make a motion then to
Yes,
change
you are.
it? Back to the way it was? Or what?
Well, what do you want to move?
Well, I don't
What's your- what
know.
was your,
Well, my idea is we add another week on. I think that would,
14 weeks.
what do you think about that?
Do you want to
Where
add it
does
at
the
the
week
beginning or
go?
the end?
I
At the
think,
end?
Beginning or the end? if you
And
add
I
one
think-
more.
I'd go into, make it longer in September.
I would too.
Yeah, okay. So if we add another week, what do we have to pay for that?
I'll just have to.
Yeah, yeah.
confirm.
Just assume that it will be calculated correctly.
Because you've got it budgeted right to zero right now. There's no surplus of any sort, you know.
Well, just think of the pleasant surprise you'll have when you look at it and find a surplus.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Anyway, okay, I won't mess around with
Okay,
that.
so will you move that we only add 1 week rather than the original? What was the
16,
original motion,
16?
16 or 18?
Currently it's
weeks?
16.
16,
And so we go with 17, is
No,
that it?
14.
14.
14.
Oh, I see, we're not doing the middle
And
one,
not take
yeah.
the reserve.
Yes, I would, anything that gets
Okay,
rid of the
so-
reserve.
So then to
Laura, make the
September
motion.
Yeah, Laura,
I move that we, count for 14 weeks of compost removal and that we do not transfer from the operating reserve.
And that it be added at the end of September.
so it'd be the
Right.
17th
Yeah.
it ends
The
instead,
19th, yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
yeah.
So total-
I would second that. if
Then my
you can make a
birthday will be
motion for
covered.
that.
That would be my birthday.
Oh, yes, well, the
September
amount of
15th.
trash that's produced there.
Oh, wow.
That was a motion.
Yeah,
That was-
yeah, she made the
Seconded.
motion, I
Okay.
seconded it.
All right.
Okay, so Laura moved and Randy seconded. Are you able to read that back or not?
Mine is the birthday comment, sorry.
Minus the birthday.
Kind
yes.
of, that Laura moved that we reduce the compost collection in the summer to 14 weeks. To go from June 15th to September 19th. And reverse taking funds out of the operating.
Yes,
Thank you. So
that was a
motion-
point.
That motion is on the table. Is there any discussion? Tom, I know you're not particularly happy with that decision. Do you want anything on the record?
No,
No? Gloria, you're happy with that?
I'm happy.
Okay, I'll call the vote. All in favor? Passed unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Okay, Randy, carry on.
I think I'm probably pretty well, I didn't do much with the capital budget or anything, nothing happened there. Yeah, The Lido pool part there, I don't know what the hell I was picking here, something. I had maintenance and operations, we paid 45,000 this year, but I assume that's because of the leaks.
Correct.
Okay, so you just bumped it by $750 for this year. And that, you think that's gonna be good? Have we got our awning and all that other stuff?
No, there's
That's
a little
in
problem
progress.
there.
Well, there may be and there may not be. The mechanism in the awning is apparently not working.
Yeah.
But Gibby is meeting with, God, I forgot her name, who's doing the canvas.
Hmm,
They're meeting tomorrow morning because they might be able to replace the motor, so they're gonna see.
is
if
it,
they
is
fix
it, is powered, is it?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
there's
yeah,
a
yeah.
crank too as a
Not the
backup,
old
but
crank, I remember
yeah.
doing that one.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess
So that may not
yeah.
be too terrible. If it turns out to be terrible, I'll let you know.
The Lido insurance is now fixed at 4,800 for sure. That would be number 5925 on page 13.
That's our best guess.
Okay, it's only a guess,
We haven't
okay.
been invoiced yet.
And the wages I know about, and the supervisor, Oh, that's because we have to pay travel now, isn't it? Okay.
But
All right.
We do join in with the yacht club. saves
Yes,
us some
yes.
substantial amount of money.
Oh, yeah, no, I expected it eventually to happen. So now the reserves are we're not gonna take that money from the reserves.
Correct.
Okay, so you'll have to sort of move that out and, yeah, you'll take care of that. Yeah, okay. That's it for me, sorry.
Excellent.
I know you wanted more.
No, let's go.
Yeah, I know everybody wants to get out, but I
I'm glad
had
you don't do,
heard,
I'm glad you don't do my books.
Anybody else have concerns before I place the motion on the table? You good? Okay, I'm placing this motion on the table that the Village of Chester Commission approve the village budget as discussed in this meeting and as presented in this document and as amended by Laura and seconded by Randy. So now I need a motion for this motion. Thank you, Gloria.
I'll
Seconder?
second that.
Thank you,
yeah.
Randy.
This is for acceptance.
This is to
Yes.
accept the budget
Okay.
as a whole,
Version
as
5.
amended, yeah, as amended, okay? Any objections? I'm placing the vote for motion, all in favor? Thank you, passed unanimously, not unanimously.
Okay.
The Saltscape Expo report. Before Gloria reports, I want to thank her for
Yes.
giving up an entire weekend of her life to do an exceptional job
Thank you,
representing the village. Thank you, Gloria.
You're welcome. So you'd like a report on that? Well, we did have nice gifts to give away. We were in with the municipality, so there was like always a draw every night. There was a draw. And thank you, everybody, for collecting items. It was very busy on Friday. Saturday was crazy.
Wow.
Sunday was, it was quieter.
Tapering off.
Yeah, but they figured because it was nice, people just didn't come, because they came on the rainy days, right? But no, it was not, it was a good experience, and I'd do it again, no problem. Got to talk to a lot of people.
Any idea how many people came to your
Well,
booth?
on Sunday, when I looked at the clicker, we actually had a clicker, but we were trying to keep up with it. And I think that had like 1,481 or something like that when I left. And at 3:30, so.
Was that up to Sunday?
Yeah.
Well, that's a significant amount
Yeah.
of people, especially if you got to talk to them all.
They had, the issue they had, like they usually don't hold it on Mother's Day weekend. Right? But they were too late booking the building, so this is the only date they had left.
I think they book it year to year.
Yeah, and so they said that next year they would book it the proper time, right? Usually the week before. But and there was a lot of people that didn't show up because Mother's Day weekend, right?
Do you mean public or?
Both vendors
Yeah,
and people, right? But it was, I mean, I got to talk to a lot of people about Chester. They were like, this, it just keeps sticking out there. This lady come up to the booth with her little fella. And she said to her, where do we go when we go to Chester? He says, to the pool, right?
Yeah.
And they come from Sackville.
Wow.
They come out here 2 or 3 times a week just for him to go to the pool.
That's amazing, you
Yeah.
know?
So I was telling her what we're doing at the pool and stuff, and she said, oh, that'll be great. She said, especially the signage, right? Like the signage needs to be there. So, and so I talked to quite a few people, and a lot of people didn't realize what goes on in the village,
Yeah,
like what we actually do.
that's right. A lot of people
Yeah.
who live here don't
Yeah.
realize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but no, overall, it was a good weekend.
it was worth your while to be there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah.
Cause you got to talk to a lot of different people, and like a lot of people say, oh yeah, I come to Chester all the time, you know, or 3 or 4 times. And stuff, and they said, oh, we didn't know this, didn't know that, and they're gonna check it out. A lot of people have said, look, this year they're gonna do local traveling,
Yeah, a lot of
so
folks are.
a lot of people are.
I'm going to
planning-
States.
Yeah, planning to come this way, right?
Yeah.
There was one lady I spoke with that, she says, oh, we go to Mahone Bay in Lunenburg, she said, every week. I said,
What?
do you stop in Chester? She said, no, I said, well, I think you need to stop in Chester. She said, well, I think we will. Right? Like, she said, no, we just automatically drove right by, right? And went in off into Mahone Bay and then into Lunenburg.
They might have had specific stops in mind too. that they
Well,
were
the
going
thing
for.
is, when you're on Highway 3, you go right through Mahone Bay, and then if you take the water, it's very easy to get
Yeah.
into downtown Lunenburg. I find a lot of folks, when I was at the Hook Bread Museum, a lot of people get to the museum and they say, where's Chester? Because
Yeah.
they just drive right by
Yeah.
it. It's not well enough signed to get them down to the
Yeah.
merchants
He had
downtown.
people asking about places to stay in Chester, like campgrounds and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and hotels. And then I had a lot of people come down here to the spa.
Oh, I never saw
well,
that.
that's
But they said, you know
Oh,
what?
yeah.
We don't really go down into the village. I said, well, I think you need to come down in the
Yeah.
village. And they said, yeah, we're gonna do that, because I told them about all the restaurants,
Yeah.
little eateries in here and stuff. And I'm like, oh, we're gonna try those. We're gonna try those. Like, oh, good.
That's
See,
nice.
our ambassador,
Well, it was a good investment on the part of the commission to have someone at.
it certainly was, and nobody could have done it better, Gloria.
Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, the draft. Where was, oh, here we go.
Okay. We don't need to have a motion other than to say that we move that Gloria is wonderful.
Yes, yes. that's
We
nice.
moved and seconded and passed unanimously. Now, 5.3 on page 18, village newsletter draft copy. There was a miscommunication there. When we were talking about this at our workshop, I thought that we had settled as a group that this was a means for commissioners to communicate with our electors. It was not to be a staff project, but Heather did not understand it to be that way, so she has drawn up copy. But I would really prefer that we look at the newsletter as a means, the commission is not that visible to the people who live here. And this is meant to be, as we discussed, one of the means that we use for commissioners to reach out to the people that elect us. So although Heather has done some text here, I would really prefer that those of you who committed to doing your part, yeah, certainly you can use it, but think about whether or not you want to personalize it yourself. It's important that we become associated with our electors rather than just sitting in this room and having the staff do our work for us. So I'm not quite sure what to do with this in actual fact, because we had agreed that everybody would have their copy into Heather by the second week of June. And then we would, Heather would do the editing, and we'll have to get some photos. Are you able to use photos from phones, Heather? Is that quality good enough for you?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Usually photos are actually pretty large these
Okay.
days, so.
So each of us then who have already committed to doing some of the work, I think I was the visitors information center. And
I got my information here for about the pool.
you were the Lido and
I was a crossing guard.
you were the crossing guards. Okay, so certainly, I mean, Heather's already done the work, use that as a guide, but if you want to change anything, certainly feel free. But do some photos for
Yeah, well,
Heather. Okay.
I took some photos, but it's not real nice down there right now, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
Well, you've got another 2 weeks.
yeah,
And the leaves are up now.
Yeah.
So,
but I did get information from Darcy about when it would be running.
yes.
She's
And
doing it.
can they still sign up for lessons?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and she said that like, they can call, and then she got when the public swim is.
okay,
I wasn't sure about what time the pool closes that night. What time is that?
yeah,
8? Okay.
Actually, if you look on the, under residents.
Yeah.
On the website, Lido Pool, it's got all the hours.
yeah, that's very clear that you should look under residents to find out.
That's the
about
hardest
Lido.
thing
I
about
know,
that.
Yeah. I would prefer, Gloria, that the information that you just talked about is
Yeah.
what's here. We
Okay.
don't need sentences. We need,
Yeah.
the pool is open, what time,
Yeah.
lessons, contact information. We don't need a paragraph.
Yeah.
Or at least that's my opinion. But I will be, I will.
No, that's
I will
like, that's
take
what
away
I
your
just got,
candies if you
I
don't
just
do what
got
I
that
want.
information from Darcy, that's
Yeah.
all, cause I said,
Hmm.
what are, because it was changed a bit, right?
That's right.
And I
that's
just
right.
wanted to be sure, so she just gave me that information.
And the problem is, of course, is we have very limited page
Yeah.
space. It's 2 columns on it.
I just
half
thought
by
I'd
11.
write this, give this to Heather and she can pick through it.
Heather is a great
If I
editor.
need to whittle it down. I'll-
Yeah.
And she will probably spend more time cutting it down than
Yeah.
expanding it. But I tried to, like, your name is gonna be associated with, this is from Gloria, the commissioner, you know, and because the purpose of the newsletter is to make what the village does
Yeah.
visible. Because people don't know we run the Lido, that we run the public washrooms, that the street lights are a village function. I mean, there's a lot of things that it would be useful for people to know so that they don't think that we're a useless piece of nothing.
Page,
I have a little blurb there, so I'm just passing this on to Heather and she can do what she
Okay,
wants with it.
page 20 actually, I think, has a number that look good. I don't know if you can squish it into one square or
What is
not.
This is the list that I gave Gloria to have with her at Saltscapes. So I just attached.
It's just that it does
pieces.
cover what we do.
but we don't want everything in one newsletter. You do it in bits and pieces. And don't forget, people just read the first sentence or two.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How are we doing? Correspondence. There's a lot of correspondence this week. It's called nil.
Yes. They're an international police organization.
Okay, report. Chair Geraldine. I have been spending almost all of my time over since our last meeting, getting our visitors information center up and running. And it really is starting to look quite clean to start with, which was a miracle. It was not the cleanest space in the world. But it looks really good. We're having an open house on Friday between 10 and 2. I will be trying to Shanghai you. I will be there all day, so it's not like if you don't turn up, the world will come to an end. But I would very much appreciate if some of you could come by and spend a half an hour or an hour with me.
Sure.
And I'm thinking of photos as well, so that we can sprinkle these out over a bit of time, Gloria.
What time are you going to start?
It's open, I'm advertising it as open from 10 till 2. I will be there at 9 and probably afterwards to clean up.
I'll come after 12:30 because I have an appointment.
Okay, perfect. So if anybody
Yeah,
cares to
about
drop by, I'll
noonish,
have
maybe,
coffee going and essentially I have sent out invitations to the counselors, to the members of the Heritage Society, to everyone who is a member of the Merchants Association, and a sprinkle here and there. Because it's not a formal event, it's just meant to say, okay, here we are. We're gonna circulate around the merchants as well, because that is the first day of the farmer's market.
Okay.
So it's fully set up. As you know, the municipality had hoped to give us part of their student. But as all world goes, things evolved, and so that didn't happen. They had to put that half of a day to another program that they're operating. However, Ashley Marlin is giving us 1 day a month. She's working every Thursday, so that's 1 full day filled. I've been working on some volunteers through the Merchants Association, through some seniors have said, I'd love to come, because, you know, some of them are isolated. So the way I am using our budget that we originally had planned to use as supplement for salaries.
Yeah.
I'm trying to stretch it out for honorariums for people who are willing to volunteer.
I have an
Laura?
idea. We have a coupon system, as you know, at the market, and we could purchase some coupons and they could be paid in coupons
Oh, wow.
that they could redeem for food or whatever at the market.
Now that's dandy.
Kind of
Yeah.
seems it all working
For
together.
people who are interested in that, that's great. I'm working it out, and there are some people, for instance, I'm asking some of the crafters, would they like to spend 3 hours there? And I've got a table that's designated for them that I'm about to put a nice tablecloth on and so on, where they could sell their wares. So they would volunteer, for instance, for 3 hours or 6 hours, but they would not receive an honorarium. Whereas if a senior, I've got 3 seniors already who are interested, come over and spend 3 hours, we give them a $30 honorarium. It's not even minimum wage, but it's respecting their time and giving them some gas money and so on. And they're perfectly happy to have a visit. So, and even if you can't come to spend some time, come and have a look. It looks good.
It's great. We did a good job.
Okay, that's my report. Oh, next is, oh, Heather. And Heather has a written report, by the way, as well. Do you want to say anything or just rely on your written report?
I'll just quickly go through it.
Okay,
Because you just got them, so you haven't had a chance to look.
Oh, it's this one.
The bank statements have been reconciled. The village main operations account opened the month with 380,212 and ended with 723,954, including the provincial grit grant that we got for 242,000 and the 25-26 Q1 tax advance from the municipality of 98,000. So the Q4 investment statement also arrived from Scotiabank, but they're always way out of date by the time we get them. If
Yeah.
anyone wants to look through them, I have them here. And the transfer to move, you might recall, we spoke last time about moving that 242,000 into the Lido reserve, so it wasn't sitting in active funds until we're ready to tackle that part of the project. So that's been done. So this little chart is actually what we had as of like lunchtime today. So this is very current. And then as far as the audit goes, Lawrence was in on May 16th to do the on-site part of the audit, and the second audit committee meeting still has to be scheduled. We talked about that right before he left, in advance of the annual general meeting on June 11th. Budget report, the 2024-25 Q4 budget variance report is attached, which shows the budget details for the full year that just ended. And just to recap, the budget report is not the same as the audit report, which is comprehensive of all village assets and depreciations. For example, the budget report will show deposits to reserves as a budget expense, but for the audit, those are assets. So it's just a different way of thinking about it. So
my
This is the part-
favorite
this is
meeting
the
of
part-
the year.
Randy enjoys.
Yeah, oh yeah, this is the
Variance
very,
report.
I realize we're on a
Yes.
tight timeline here tonight. And there was nothing that I saw that was too terribly untoward. Administration,
Are we done with the budget?
no, this is how the budget varies from what we
Oh,
budgeted.
I see.
Yeah, but this is the end of the year now, so I don't know how much difference it actually makes. We can't go back and do anything about it. But one thing I did notice in general, administration was 23% it was over budget by 25%. This is page 1 of 6 on that second handout. At the bottom, 5495. The total for administration, so we were pretty well, according to that, 25% over the budget at that point for
Is
that
that
whole-
including the,
Don't forget revenue.
and the
Yes.
overhead and
because I
this is
added in-
expenses, yeah.
Yeah, I added in the expenses that the fire department.
Ah,
pays,
yeah.
And then they paid for it.
and then
Which
they
we
pay
didn't
for it.
have in before, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So
No,
I've got-
that was the
do
only
have
thing
in
that
the
I
notes
noticed,
where
yeah.
it is, because it actually came in under budget. The
Oh,
operating
all
budget.
together, yeah,
Yeah, altogether it came in under, let me just.
that was pretty well it, I think.
Yes, so without the added fire committee expenses, the total would be 401,943. So it would have brought us in, so we are,
For administration expenses only is all I
Oh.
was looking at.
okay. That I may have to.
And when you add up all the little tiddly bits where we're over budget, we end up being about, I assume that's a percentage, yes. And the positive percentages mean we're over budget, I believe. Is that correct? The minuses mean we have money left,
Yes.
and the positives mean we went over.
Yeah, sorry, which one are you looking at?
I'm looking at page 1 of 6, the actual budget,
Right, oh, I see.
at the administration total at the bottom of the page.
If you subtract the two blue numbers.
Oh, yeah, I
You'll-
suppose I would just about do it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's this adding
You-
stuff after the
You gotta-
fact
you
that
gotta
messed it
keep
up, yeah.
That bookkeeping mechanism.
And of course, Lido Pool and Washroom was also 20% over budget.
That darn wall.
Yes.
So, yeah, I gather that was unavoidable, but I mean, it wasn't a bad thing and it was quite obvious what it was for, you know?
Mhm.
And other than that, I don't think I had anything much to say. Most of the other stuff, you know, anything that, there was one there, what was it? Landscaping and property maintenance were pretty ugly. That would be on page 2 of 6, 5585.
Oh, yeah, that was.
That whole-
The mowing expenses. were
Oh, God.
huge last
It's
year.
absolutely insane. It's like 47% over budget, you know, like. So I hopefully we covered it a little better in this year's budget.
I think we did, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything like that looked.
Yeah, you did
like
raise a lot of
repeats.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just those specific things, gib lot maintenance, 50% over budget, you know. But I guess my whole point in bringing that up is that that's a significant amount. If we're over budget by 5% or 6%, but you know, 25% over budget means maybe the next year, which we just passed, you have to look at cranking that up a
I
little bit. eh?
think that we did, and the.
It looks
the
that
problem
way.
with when budgets go over like that, life happens.
Oh, no, I understand, but fortunately, we had a nice little surplus there
Yeah.
last year, but we ain't gonna have one this year.
No.
So, Anyway,
That figure, that 16,000
Yeah.
surplus was like that even takes into consideration the fire blue numbers that we put in.
yeah, oh, no, I mean, I realize there's nothing we can do
We
about it.
actually came in quite a bit.
It was
under.
just like eye popping when you see 50% over budget, that's all.
Yeah.
But anyway, rather than hold things up, and it's all done deal now anyways, nothing can be done about it, so.
So election notices about the AGM and the election were published in the local newspaper starting last week. The nomination deadline is June 4th at 5 p.m. and the packages and notices were updated to clarify that nominations are on or before that date. And the list of electors came in today, actually, from the municipality, from the province through the municipality. Public washroom retrofits are, we're working on that. Maritime insulators did the attic this morning, so that one is done. Lido lifeguard interviews are underway. Luckily, most of last year's team are interested in coming back and a few new people have applied. I'm planning to have the team finalized by the end of the month. I've got a couple more interviews to do and then I'll Jenga the schedule.
Maritime insulators is foam, isn't it?
Yeah.
Spray on foam, yeah.
Yeah, and otherwise, I'm still waiting for some further costs back for the changes that we talked about 2 weeks ago for the pool. For the ramp,
So that's not going until September.
yeah, that will go in September.
Okay.
So the ramp, all outdoors was amenable, I think, to
Yes.
allowing the other mason or whoever to
Yeah.
take that part. So is it gonna be a straight subcontract then?
Yeah, so we'll
So
still
we
pay all
pay all
outdoors.
outdoors and, okay.
Yeah. So I'm just waiting for some of those final numbers back, but I don't anticipate any big surprises. Other maintenance, just FYI, the municipality will be removing the Christmas tree stand and electrical outlet in Parade Square for public safety reasons, and I'm personally kind of happy that those traffic cones that have been covering them will also be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty
Um,
scammy there.
Yeah. So if a beautification, Public Works is saying if a beautification program has not been finalized, they'll install a temporary solution for Christmas, but in the meantime, it will be gone. Carrie has been secured to deal with the flower baskets. Eastern Fence took down the gyplot fence last Friday. It looks really
It
good.
does. I went by there and I thought, oh my God, it's all gone already.
And
And did they fill the holes as well? It didn't look bad.
They didn't, but it looks fine. I'll go do a walk.
They'll kind of fill in by themselves eventually, yeah.
And the province completed the street sweeping downtown early, hurrah. IT and security, my new laptop is down in place, a big improvement.
Yeah.
The 2 tablets are ready for distribution, so Randy and Tom, I can talk to you separately about handing those over. And we'll be talking about IT next month when I get.
Have you got anybody that's
I've
on
got
the
a
hook?
couple of quotes, but there's some alternate ways of thinking about it that I
Okay.
want to investigate.
Okay.
So.
Good.
Okay,
That's
thank you, Heather. Under the circumstances, are we willing to take a pass on the Chester Fire Services, just minutes for information? Louisburg County Accessibility Committee, I can tell you they're moving ahead.
Yeah.
Village Planning Advisory
Has
Committee.
No meetings for the
Okay.
last 2 months, so,
And
yeah.
equity, diversity and
We didn't
inclusion.
have a quorum, so
Okay.
nothing major.
So,
decided.
we don't want to keep our guests waiting any longer than necessary. However, we must do the, policy,
Review.
review.
What
but
about, are we
it's
gonna leave
fairly
the
quick.
grants or are we gonna try to do that tonight?
What is the feeling around the room about the grants? Do you want to do them now? They should be done.
It is in our policy that they're
Yeah.
done at the May meeting.
Okay.
Can we deal with the guests and do this after? or what?
Well, Mr. Pitt is
Some
not.
of our
That's,
guests aren't here
I'm
yet,
just
so.
waiting.
Some are not
Once-
here.
Here's my thought, people. Once everyone from the fire committee that is planning to attend today, we will interrupt ourselves gently and welcome them to the floor, and then any leftover business we conclude afterwards. Is everybody fine with that?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so let us now begin a discussion of the community grant applications. As you can see here, we have the Chester Arts Center, it's our usual applicants, the Chester Merchants Association, Chester Municipal Heritage Society, the Chester Playhouse, and the Yacht Club. Heather, what amounts did they ask for? I suppose I could
significant?
read that.
Look at
Page 32.
Yeah,
It's got a list of what the requests were, versus the funds that are available.
Yeah.
And the page 33 has historically. what
History,
we've
yeah.
done.
did,
Share the packages out.
did everybody have a chance to read the application? Okay, so I'll open the discussion by, does anyone have any specific comments that they want to put on the record? No?
Does seem to be the same for the 5
It always is.
organizations. And there's a significant higher ask this year than there was last.
Inflation.
Well, 17,000, 10,000 is what we had.
We had budgeted 15 initially. though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And then
still,
we had to
yeah.
back it up because we
And that
didn't have a
makes
surplus.
makes it much more difficult to make up your mind when the asks jump that much. I realize it's inflation and everything.
Well, the reason that I asked if you had any comments is because we've got the 5, but was there one thing that you felt stood out as a value to the village? Everything is a value to the village, but did you feel that one thing stood out as a value that you would
Oh,
put
there's
as number
Wilson.
1 on the list? Hi, Wilson, welcome.
I would say probably the theater,
The theater,
because we'll have a lot of business into it.
they bring a lot of folks into
Yeah,
town.
sure. do.
They have what, NATO Day is what they're talking?
The theater?
Or was
Yeah,
that last
it's
year?
the Playhouse.
Yeah,
House, yeah.
I would agree with Tom in this case. I think if we're gonna sink extra or And
Well,
that-
I'm not thinking extra, we're not gonna.
Just
say
number
more than
one
the
for
two.
me,
Yeah.
I don't know why we don't do Laura's thing from last year, just divvy it up 5 ways or whatever we ended up doing
I'm
last
happy to
year.
do
The
that.
one comment, it has nothing to do with my daughter working there. But in February, they did that portrait.
Yeah,
In February, it was freezing, 70 people came every single day. That
I
was-
know.
And it was
Yeah.
fantastic, and they came from far and wide, so, and that's the whole goal, is that we're bringing people to the village.
I was gonna give that number 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe- I would have said number 2, yeah. I never thought of the yacht club as a particularly, I know they're technically a nonprofit, but there's a lot of moneyed people that go to the yacht club, and they should have to look after more. I mean, we gave them a little bit last year, but that was a bit, I don't really.
they usually get the
I
tail
don't-
end.
they didn't
because
ask
they
for
left
yeah.
over.
And we're paying to get half of their guard, you know,
No, we're
during
not,
race
we're
week.
paying for our own guard, taking a
Yeah.
hell of a lot of money, because we don't have to pay our own transportation for the guard, we're saving money.
Oh, I thought we were sharing the guard again. this
Well,
year.
we're sharing it in the sense that we're not spending transportation for our own
Not two
guard,
different
they're
companies.
traveling with the other guard. because
Oh, well,
otherwise
I
have
thought
to
we were
pay.
paying for a portion of the
No,
guard, yeah,
no,
yeah, okay.
No, they have a number of guards, we just have the one.
Yeah,
so-
okay, oh, so the
We're
our
just
guard is from a
piggybacking on
different
their-
outfit, yeah, okay.
And I would also mention the merchants. I don't usually go to that, but Elena dragged me out with some little kids, and that was well attended. That was a huge thing, and the fire department was also involved, which was
Yeah.
kind of nice. So here's my motion. I move that we give $2,000 to the top floor applicants there, and 1,000 for the yacht club, and that puts 1,000 back in our budget for something.
Okay, 2 for
Six,
Clay
eight.
House, Municipal Heritage Society, Merchants Association, and the Art Center, 1,000 for AYC, and 1,000 balance.
I could maybe go to your Vic if you, since you didn't get your, I don't know if we're allowed to do that,
What's that?
the visitor information center,
Oh.
you,
I would gratefully accept that. Honorarium.
Okay, well, I'm perfectly, I just think Laura last year came up with the obvious way to do it, because we all had different people that we wanted to
Yeah.
support.
And
And she just said, why don't we just split it? I think the yacht club got less, but everybody.
The
else-
yacht club
they only
always
asked,
gets
but they
less.
asked for like.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine, yeah. So,
So.
does anybody else have thoughts on
Are
that?
you seconding Laura's motion? on
I
that?
will
Okay, now
second
it's
it.
on the
Yeah,
table,
yeah.
discussion. No objection?
So we're giving,
2,000 each to the
Top 5,
Art
4.
Center, the Merchants Association, the Heritage Society, and Playhouse.
okay.
1,000 to the Yacht Club, which leaves a balance of $1,000, which Geraldine is humbly willing to accept for the Visitors Information Center.
Which will also bring people into Chester.
As a matter of fact, this
and-
morning I sold 2 tickets to the Playhouse. And it's not even open yet.
So does anybody have any problem with that?
If there's no further discussion, I call the motion. All in favor? Aye, unanimous passed.
You got that? Heather?
We're getting
That
closer,
clean?
guys.
on your paper. I was just trying to.
I thought that might be a tough, but
Okay,
it went right through.
I would like to ask for a motion that we temporarily pause our meeting and invite our colleagues from the Chester Volunteer Fire
I'll make
Department. Thank
I'll
you,
make a motion
Gloria.
that we do that.
We have to go in camera for that, don't we?
We do.
Yeah. I'll second it.
Okay, so let's include in that and moving camera. Are you willing to do that, Mover?
Yeah,
Gloria?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, mover and seconder accept that. Thank you, Tom.
thanks.